Hey everyone, it's Allie and welcome to my channel, and today I am super excited to be back after an unintended extended break to talk about my 2025 year on Poshmark, and we're also going to be talking about my 2026 goals. Alright, so yeah, sorry it's been a while. I actually was gone for 3 weeks. I live in the Charleston, South Carolina area, but if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I'm originally from the north. So like all my family, all my husband's family pretty much lives in Pennsylvania and Ohio. So we were up there for 3 weeks for the Christmas season, and we had a wedding, which is why we were up there for so long. And then I also got sick. I'm still a little bit sniffly, so sorry if you can hear that in my voice, but I am super excited to be back to uploading regularly on this channel, and we'll talk about that a little bit more throughout the video. But first off, let's just do a quick reflection on 2025. So if you're new here, I have been selling to some degree on Poshmark for 5 years now. I stumbled across the whole reselling hustle through YouTube. I started this YouTube channel 6 years ago now, I think, as just a general lifestyle channel, but I was really into thrifting, and I found that I was just thrifting way too much for myself, and my feed started showing me all of these reselling videos. And so yeah, I got into it about 5 years ago, and I, like I said, have been doing it to different degrees of consistency, I guess, over the last 5 years. When I was looking back at my numbers for 2025, I was actually surprised to see that it was my third best year, but it was very, very close to my second best year, and I was surprised by that because I very much felt like I was a inconsistent part-time reseller, hobby reseller, and I don't have a problem sharing my numbers with you. Last year, as I said, very inconsistently uploading items and having a lot of days on vacation mode and stuff like that, I still ended up making about $14,000, which I think is pretty good for a very casual side hustle. And my best-selling brands were vintage. I do like to pick up a lot of vintage, Anthropologie, Madewell, Gap, Free People, and J. Crew. So I do sell a lot of bread and butter. I try to sell like nicer bread and butter type pieces, but as someone who only goes thrifting usually a couple times a month, which I will probably change this year, we'll get into that, I have not in the past really been the reseller who goes into Goodwill and comes out with nothing, or maybe only comes out with one like really, really good item. I try to make good use of my time, and I try to get a fair amount of things every time I do go to the thrift store. But yeah, you can definitely still make solid money selling bread and butter pieces. Things are changing a little bit with that, but you don't need to only sell luxury items to make money. And far and wide, the vast majority of my sales are under $50. I haven't even had that many sales that were over $100, but I did have a fantastic sale last year. My best sale of the year was this rose carmine sweater that I got from a ThredUp 200-pound box, so I had probably about $1 into this item. I listed it for $350, and if you guys saw that video, I kind of thought this was just like a homemade sweater at first. It looked like Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, like it was just this very colorful rainbow long line open cardigan, and I could tell it was good quality, but there was no tag on it anywhere. But when I did a reverse image search, this rose carmine sweater popped up, and I can't remember exactly what it retailed for, but I think it was like $2,000. So I was really unsure of how to list it, how much to list it for, but especially since I had such little money into it, I ended up listing it for $350, and I said in the description, I cannot confirm for sure that this is a rose carmine sweater, but I'm quite confident that it is, and I took as many detailed photos as I could. I was fully expecting to sell it for like $150, $175 maybe. Someone ended up buying it fairly quickly, I think within a few weeks, for full price. And honestly, I have Posher VA. I have an automatic discount that goes towards someone whenever they like something. So if this person would have just liked the sweater, within 10 minutes they would have got like a 10% discount. So yeah, I like rarely make full price sales, and it was insane that this was a full price sale. So I was absolutely thrilled about that, and the buyer was very happy as well. I wasn't like rejoicing until the order was complete because I was very much afraid that the buyer would get the sweater and be like, this is not Rose Carmine, whatever. But yeah, it all went well, and what a wonderful success story from ThredUp. So I love those big rescue boxes, which again, we're going to talk about in a little bit. So that was a bit of an overview of 2025, and if you have any questions for me, feel free to drop them down below. But now let's get into 2026, and I just kind of organized this as my top 10 thoughts. But before we get into that, first I just have to say, in case you missed it, I think I made a community tab post about it. I am actually pregnant, which if you've been following me for a while, you know that this was not something that I thought was going to happen for me. My husband and I were trying for over 7 years, and doctors told me, you're not going to get pregnant, etc., etc. We had actually started an adoption process, and I made a whole video about this topic, and it's over on my Bookish Lifestyle channel. I'll link it down below if you did not see that and you want to. But yeah, we are so unbelievably excited and grateful. We truly think that this is a miracle baby for us, and I know a lot of you guys have prayed for me over the years, so I really appreciate that, and know that I'm always praying for you as well. But just with that being said, of course, being a mom is going to be my main priority. But the great thing is, YouTube, reselling, writing, the things that I fill my day with now work-wise, I think they all work very well with being a stay-at-home mom. So I won't know exactly how much being a mom is going to affect everything until baby comes out, but I do still plan on doing all 3 of these things to some degree when I do have the baby in May. But okay, now let's get into my top 10 thoughts about reselling in 2026. So in general, I'm looking to buy and list good quality, excellent condition items, and I want to make sure that they have several things going for them. So I'm going to be looking at brand, materials, size, style, and I have had those things in the back of my mind for the last few years, but I want to get better about really making sure an item is worth picking up. And even though, as I said earlier, I do sell bread and butter, it is getting harder and harder to move it, and I just feel like you can sell it for much less money. So yeah, I just want to make sure things are desirable, relatively recent, if they're not like cool vintage, good condition, good style, all of that. And so if that means me going into a thrift store and only picking up 5 items instead of like 15 to 20, I'm gonna be okay with that. And my focus for January is really gonna be minimizing my closet. I currently have over 1,000 listings, and I would like to be more at like 750. Just the way that I do my inventory, I am very much overflowing, and I don't like that. I don't like to be disorganized, and I know that there's a lot of stuff in my Poshmark closet that just needs to be delisted and donated or sent to ThredUp or sold in bulk or whatever. So do let me know. I know it was a problem like towards the end of 2025, Poshmark rolled out this new thing that if you delisted too many items in a day, like more than 4 or 5, you got flagged and you were suspended. So let me know if you know, is that still a thing, or can I delist like 10 plus items in a day now? But yeah, before the baby in general, I just want to be as organized as possible throughout my whole house, and by far my Poshmark business is like the most disorganized part of my house. My office is like always a mess because I'm always overflowing, and so the solution is just to have less stuff. And so even though I want to overall have less stuff in my Poshmark closet, I do want to be going thrifting more and being a little bit pickier. So before I would go and get like 20 items, and I am very fortunate to have a few really good Goodwills that I know I can always find at least some good items. But like last year, I would go into a Goodwill and really aim to get like 20 items. So I might get 7 to 10 really solid items, but then half of them would be a little bit more bread and butter. And yeah, I'm just having a harder time moving the bread and butter now. It's not selling for as much, so I would rather just get the really good pieces. And so instead of going to the thrift stores like twice a month, I'm really gonna aim to go once a week. And I feel like there are like a solid 4 thrift stores that I've found that I really enjoy going to. So I'll probably just go to 1 a month. That way I'm not like seeing the same inventory all the time. And so like going to the thrift store once a week, probably like the same day each week, I just want to get into more consistent habits of how I source. So I'd like to order the 200 pounds mixed clothing rescue box from ThredUp. I'd like to order 200 pounds every quarter. I love these boxes. It's like Christmas. I always make a good amount of money. You guys, I know, really love watching the videos, and that gives me 4 videos because I usually do one per box. But especially when I have the baby, that's going to be extremely helpful because I probably won't get out thrifting for at least a month, I would assume. The problem is, you guys have probably noticed, if you are a ThredUp rescue box lover like I am, they seem to have way less now. Like, they are almost always out of stock, and I have been checking quite frequently because I'm trying to place my first quarter 200-pound order, and I don't know if it's just because of the holiday season or what, but yeah, like, boxes just don't seem to be available. So I am praying that they are not phasing them out. I don't really understand why they would, because especially the bulk boxes, that's like free money for them because it's stuff that was not selling on their site or is flawed, or they just don't want to list it for whatever reason. So yeah, I don't think that's what's happening, but maybe they're just like short on employees or something, but I'm praying that within the next week or so, those boxes will be available again. Another way that I want to source a little bit better this year is to be more aware of consignment stores and their sales. I don't often go into like Plato's and Clothes Mentor, places like that, especially because now where I live, I don't really have one anywhere close to me. But if there's like a seasonal sale going on, I feel like a lot of times that's a great way to source, and you're not searching through like huge thrift stores. Plato's are usually much smaller. So I want to be a little bit better about paying up a little bit, like not crazy. I'm never going to be someone that's paying like $15+ for an item, but I want to be better about paying a little bit more for an item that should sell quickly and for a decent profit. Like you'll see in my next video, actually, I have a thrift haul, but then when I was sick, I saw that there was a sale on ThredUp, and I placed an order for I think 9 items that are all new with tags, and it ended up being about $9 an item. So I think that's pretty good for new with tag items, and that did take me quite a while to find all of those. But if I do have a sick day or a day I just feel like scrolling or something and ThredUp is having a sale, I do think that that is going to be a good way for me to source this year. And I don't think this is going to happen until probably the fall because of my current pregnancy condition and me having to pee like every half an hour and then recovering from having the baby. But I would like to go to the bins like once a month, and I don't particularly love going to the bins. It's definitely like a stressful environment for me, but you can't beat the prices, and there always is so much good stuff that you can find at the bins, and I do like sourcing from a place that is about to go to the landfill. Okay, my next point is to make sure I'm listing and relisting at least one item a day. In this past week that I've been home, I've actually gotten into the habit of listing 4 new items a day and then relisting 4. And then I do also have a Depop account in addition to Poshmark, and my Depop is a bit more curated. It's all either vintage or like super cottagecore kind of style. I feel like that is more important on Depop. Not necessarily to go by those styles, but just to go by some kind of style. And that has me listing about 120 new items every month, which is ideally what I would love to be selling. Definitely not there yet, but so far listing 4 items and relisting 4 items has been extremely doable, and it really doesn't take me long every day at all. So I'm definitely going to keep up with that habit. And if my closet is getting too big again after I purge a bunch of old items, I'll probably go down to only listing 2 new items a day. But I haven't been the greatest about relisting in the past, and so yeah, that is something that I'm making sure happens every single day. 2025 in general, I was just not great at being consistent, and that is something that I want to work on obviously in every area with sourcing, listing, all of that, and that also includes sending offers. In the past, I would just be like, oh, I haven't really had any sales, so I'm just gonna send like huge discounts. And I'm not gonna lie, when I did get back from the north last week, my closet had been on vacation mode for over 3 weeks, so I did send out some very aggressive offers just to get my closet moving again. But now that I'll be home for a little bit, I shouldn't have to put my closet on vacation mode for more than a couple days, I don't think, for the rest of the year. What I'm doing now is that through Posher VA, which I love, if you don't have it, I do have a referral link down below. It's my virtual assistant of choice, especially as someone who primarily does sell on Poshmark. But anyway, I have that set to whenever someone likes an item, I think after 10 minutes, Posher VA sends out an automatic 20% off discount. I used to do a 10% discount, but I'm really focusing on trying to get items items in and out as quickly as possible. So I would love for someone, as soon as they're interested in an item, to hopefully buy it, and I think I have had a little bit better luck overall. I started doing it in December, which December is never a great sales month for me just because, of course, people are spending a lot of money on Christmas presents. But for me, coming off of vacation mode for 3 weeks, I am pretty happy with how my closet has done the last week. But in addition to that automatic 20% off, on Sundays, I'm gonna do 30% off offers on everything that has been listed for at least a month. And other than that, I'm really not gonna send too many offers higher than that automatically. I'll probably do 40% off offers on like major holidays. And then of course, if someone does send me an offer that's more than that, 50% or whatever, I will just kind of judge that on a case-by-case basis. But there were some items that I sold in big sales last year that I was like, that was a good item, like I definitely should have held out for a little bit more money. And then my last point has to do more with the YouTube side of my business. Yeah, I unintentionally had a bad start to the year and bad end to the last year. I really am going to do my best to be consistent with uploading 4 videos a month on this channel. And we're already nearing the end of the month, so you're actually gonna see 2 videos a week from me for this week and next week. But then starting in February, I plan to upload every Sunday, probably at noon. So that's the goal, but I'm also not gonna be too hard on myself if I can't get that Sunday at noon upload. But overall, I just wanna make sure I'm putting out 4 videos a month. And instead of doing mostly like sit down thrift hauls, I'm gonna be focusing a little bit more on come thrift with me's, so I don't feel the pressure to have like 20 items to show you. And I know you guys do like come thrift with me's, and I used to go thrifting on the weekends. Now I'm gonna really try to go on like Wednesdays or Thursdays, so that way I feel a little bit more comfortable filming and there will be less people around. And that will show you too things that maybe are like pretty good, but I'm passing, and like why I'm passing on them. So I think you guys will like that, so expect to see more come thrift with me's. Of course, expect to see 200-pound ThredUp Rescue Box videos if they ever release them again. And then I know people really like to see what sold. I personally just don't really enjoy making those videos, and I don't feel like I'm the best example of what you can get for an item because I am quite quick to accept a lower offer. But what I am gonna do is do like quarterly recap videos. So at the end of each quarter, I'll kind of give you an overview of my numbers, how I feel like that quarter went, maybe some of my best sales. So I think that'll be a good way to give you guys that kind of content without having to do that every week or every month. So those are kind of my just top 10 thoughts about my Poshmark business and my YouTube channel. And I figured I would leave you with the top brands and styles that I'll be looking out for and those that I'll be leaving behind. So top brands and styles I'll be looking out for, items that have gotten a lot of likes for me in the past, items that have sold pretty quickly. Really any kind of higher end luxury brand is a given. I just really can't leave it behind, even if it's like an older item. I would rather sell like a Lafayette 148 item for 15 to 20 bucks and save that from the landfill than to leave that behind at the thrift store. I also will continue to look for good vintage. As I said, that was my best selling category in 2025, mostly because I do have more general vintage than any other specific brand. But I feel like I've gotten better over the years about honing in on what kind of vintage does sell. So when I first started selling, I feel like I just picked up like any vintage, which I would not recommend doing. But I've done very well with like really cute vintagey looking sweaters and crew necks. One of the top brands that I'm going to be looking for, even though I really never find it out in the wild, is Vuori. Like many people, I've not had a lot of great luck with a lot of athletic athleisure brands over the last year or so, but Vuori, even though it's slowed down a little bit, you can't sell it for quite as much as you used to. That still seems to be like the best brand you can sell right now. I also do like to sell Varley. I found a few pieces from them recently, and like if I can find a really cute like newer Athleta piece, I'll definitely pick that up as well. I also have had very good luck selling Quince. Haven't sold a lot of pieces from them, I think maybe like 3 or so, and I think they all pretty much came from ThredUp, but they get a ton of likes and they do sell very quickly. Don't sell for a lot, but I'm honestly not that worried about finding super expensive items to flip. I'm more concerned about getting items in and out fairly quickly. Tuckerneck brands I've also done pretty well with. I found 3, I think at the end of 2025, and they all have sold already. And I feel like being down here in the South, I'm gonna have a little bit better luck finding that than when I was up in the North. I'm also gonna be looking for substantial and newer Anthropologie, J. Crew, Ralph Lauren, and more timeless pieces. I have not done super well in the last couple years with like really trendy pieces. So I'm looking for just like classic, good quality cardigans, pants, jeans, things like that. But hypocritically, I also will be looking for stylish jeans. So I am very, very picky with jeans because they are a bit expensive at the thrift store. And I just find, at least at my thrift stores, I hardly ever do find like more recent styles. But if I can find barrel leg, wider leg, flare, or straight leg from really good brands, those are the styles that I'll be looking for. But alright everybody, I thought this was going to be a shorter video, but I guess not. But I do hope you enjoyed. I think it's really fun to take the beginning of the year and reflect on the previous year and think about how you can be better in the new year. But let me know how your 2025 went, if you are a reseller, or even if you're not and you're just a thrifty person, did you find anything really cool last year? And let me know what changes you're making to your reselling business in 2026. But if you like this video, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe. It really does help my channel out a lot. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!